Playoff implications at stake raises the bar in a pivotal USL Championship match tonight. ESPN takes us to Colorado Springs with this game being presented by Widener. It's Phoenix Rising FC trying to keep their playoff hopes alive against Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. Hello everyone, with Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us this evening. Chris, it's not how you start, but how you finish. And for Phoenix, the hourglass is close to expiring.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake in this game. Colorado obviously want to maintain their third place in the standings so that they can get a home fixture for the playoffs. Phoenix, on the other hand, they have a new head coach, so lots of players are trying to impress, but they're also trying to see if they can go on a momentum run and try to make a late push into the playoffs and leave everything into the control about the results.
Now, right now, Colorado Springs, they have 41 points. Phoenix Rising FC, they have 32 points. So we take a peek at Jeff Caldwell, our Modelo player to watch this evening.
Yeah, very important at this stage of the season that goalkeepers are in form. Key to being a successful championship team and postseason team is having a goalkeeper who can get you out of trouble, and hopefully having a unit between the goalkeeper and the back four that are able to limit as many chances as possible to goal. So Calder's been in good form lately. Going into the postseason, it's going to be important that he maintains that, having 2 shutouts in his previous 2 games. Going to see if he can continue to take that confidence and momentum into the remaining games.
8 clean sheets on the year for him with a save percentage at .612. Phoenix Rising right now 5 points out of a playoff spot. What do they need to do here tonight?
They're 5 points, and they also have a game in hand. They have game in hand over some of the teams above them. So it's going to be interesting to see if the new head coach can instill some self-belief and motivation into the team. He's already moved the 3 players around into positions where they feel more comfortable, which is something that was a problem for Phoenix Rising earlier in the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how the changing coach, the changing mentality, the changing training approach, whether it has a positive effect on the team or if the change at this stage of the season ends up turning to be a negative and compound the kind of lackluster season that they've already had so far.
Western Conference standings as it stands right now, Colorado Springs in 3rd position. You see Phoenix Rising FC, they're in that 10th slot. Time left, but not much.
Yeah, and there you see with 26 games played, the teams above them have 27. They have 1 game in hand. So if they're able to win that tonight, they'll take them on to 35 points, just 2 points away from Las Vegas Lights and LA Galaxy, who are occupying 7th and 8th.
One thing with Phoenix is they've had a great deal of success against Colorado in recent years. 6-0-1 since 2017. We'll see if they can keep that trend going here tonight. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you the starting 11s and first touch. It's Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC, Phoenix Rising FC coming up next.
Fox 21's Loving Living Local is exploring outdoor Colorado in this fully loaded 4xe Jeep Wrangler, and now is your chance to win big. Snap a pic of yourself enjoying Colorado's outdoors, submit that to fox21news.com, plus tune in to Loving Living Local for special segments highlighting things to do and places to see in our beautiful state. At the end of the year, one lucky winner will receive a gift certificate for a prepaid 2-year lease on a brand new Jeep from Perkins Motors. So show us how you outdoor Colorado.
Calling all Switchbacks fans. Now is your chance to be featured on Loving Living Local. All you have to do is submit your best fan photo on our website for a chance to be featured on Loving Living Local with our host, Nava. And you'll receive a fan swag goodie bag full of awesome Switchbacks gear. For your chance to be our winner, just go to fox21news.com under the Sports tab and click Switchbacks FC to enter.
Is your animal so photogenic you can't stop taking pictures of them? Whether it's exotic, funny, or just plain cute, we want to share it.
You know, they look like a J. Crew catalog. If these were 55-year-old men just hanging out on a leather couch.
Right. Go to fox21news.com/petpics, submit your photo, and watch for your pet during the morning weather forecast. Pet Picks on Fox 21 is sponsored by Furry Friends Incorporated, the pet food store that comes to your door. We are Southern Colorado.
Saturday during the summers was our get up and go to Monument Lake fishing. From a little hobby as an 11-year-old kid, it's turned into quite a business.
Our stories matter.
If they're on the trails, if they're in the woods, if they're anywhere, I can be with them now.
Bringing you the most local news.
All of the people that are doing this type of agriculture are trying to do a better thing for society.
We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
And we are live here at Widener Field. David Gascon, Chris Nurse, Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC, Phoenix Rising FC. Both teams coming onto the pitch right now. Player walkout is sponsored by Children's Hospital of Colorado. Chris will take a look at the starters now amongst the 11 for Colorado first. Brendan Burke, the team manager.
Yeah, you can see Colorado operating with just 3 players at the back, Ungolino and Foster going up and down the flanks, looking to attack from those wide areas, which they did last week against New Mexico United. Going to be interesting to see if they can get a little bit more support to Barry when he gets the ball in the final third. Last week, players taking a little bit too long to get up and support him. Has the ability to create chances in his own through individual moments of magic, but it'd be better to see some players get out there and supporting him in the final third.
And on the flip side, for Juan Guerra, who does he have amongst his 11?
It's great to see some of the changes that he's already come in and rectified. For the good or bad, Calistri and Darnell King were both playing under the previous head coach, but now we see Darnell King, captain and leader of this team, operating on his right-back position, which he's been known to perform so well for over a number of years now. And being the captain and leader in the team, it's important that that player feels comfortable, so then that confidence can translate to the rest of the team. I think when he was playing out of position on the left-hand side, he wasn't able to produce the best soccer that he can play, and evidently that's obviously going to have a knock-on effect to the rest of the team. So seeing him back there where he leads this team the best can only bring positive things going forward.
Tonight's starting lineup is presented by Phil Long. So with all that being said, you see some of the changes from Juan Guerra. On the other side, for Colorado Springs, they've had a good year, but it could be so much better if they get the monkey off their backs, which has been Phoenix over the last handful of seasons.
Yeah, and of course, the last time these teams played, the result was in favor of Phoenix, and Colorado felt a little bit hard done by. So they're going to be carrying that energy and that kind of grudge in them. It's going to be interesting to see if they come out with the same mentality and performance of feeling a little bit hard done by in that performance. So I think there's lots at stake tonight. I think Colorado want to ensure they secure that third place. Phoenix for sure need to give it everything they got. Every game for them from now until the end of the season is going to be a cup final if they have any opportunity of making the playoffs. And it's a huge challenge for the coach to see if he can get them across that line. Also a huge challenge for the mentality and the intensity of the players to see if they're able to pull off those performances.
Brad Jensen, the lead official tonight. We hope we don't call his name too often as this match is underway. Phoenix will be moving from left to right on your screen. Colorado will be going from right to left. Picture perfect setting tonight at Widener Field. Temperatures right around 72 degrees, a few scattered clouds, but a great night for soccer. And more importantly, as we near our way towards postseason, this is where things really ratcheted up.
Of course, one of the key things we're going to be looking for is to see how this Phoenix team plays under their new head coach. You know, we've seen them be so energetic in their pressing style, in their overlapping fullback style, the aggression that they show in the final third. It's not quite been there this season, so it's going to be interesting to see if Juan Guerra can bring that back to this Phoenix Rising organization.
Ben Luton goal, 38 goals against this year, save percentage nearly at 70, 691, 8 clean sheets on the year. Over the last couple of games, he's fared well. Widener Field rocking tonight, as it should be. There's some good elements around the USL Championship. You're just thinking about cities like Detroit, Pittsburgh, New York, of course. It's pretty fun in Colorado Springs. San Diego, you can't help it. Orange County is solid. It's an environment that gets really lively, especially now that we're in September, and then things get really interesting and quite a buzz once we spill into October.
Yeah, and for sure with this Phoenix Rising organization, if you look at the talent on the pitch, there's no reason this team shouldn't just be in the playoffs. They should be a team that's competing for regular season champions. So from an individual perspective, they've massively underperformed this season. However, there's still an opportunity to get something good at the end of it if they were to squeak into the final playoff places and then make a good postseason run. But I think everybody has kind of been underwhelmed with how this Phoenix Rising team has performed this season, but there's still a few games left for them to be able to turn it around.
Cam Lindley there saying, "Who, me?" Brad Jensen calling the foul. Lindley this season making the start, his 25th in 25 games. It's the one thing with Colorado Springs over the course of this 2022 campaign is they have a lot of continuity, especially in the back line.
Yeah, I think their ability to keep clean sheets has improved in the past couple of games. The individual ability that Haji Barry brings up top is incredible. You know, you've seen his performances now for a couple of seasons. He's been able to sustain his performances at the top level. But I think what they need to do is when the ball does go up to him, it takes a little bit too long for them to get support up to him. And often they end up either playing negative passes and not turning counter-attacks into productive as they could be, or he's having to do too much on his own. So it's going to be interesting if they adopt those changes. Obviously, that means you throw more bodies forward. It can make you a little bit more vulnerable defensively. But if you're going to go into the postseason, you can't just rely on Barry alone. You're going to have to get that support up to him.
All about the balance, but yeah, to your point, Barry leading the team in scoring. He's got 16 goals and 8 helpers. On a run here, one-on-one. A slight break, and it goes short side, though, against Lute. He had the angle, but a fine attempt early on. Galena had that look with his right.
And that's the energy that we're talking about. That's what you want to see. Barry making those runs in behind it that he knows to do. And Galena making runs past him. He's able to slide him in. Probably took the extra touch and unable to get the shot off with as much quality as he would have liked. But you see that intent, counter-attacking, getting bodies forward, getting support forward, getting shots off on goal.
Apologize for the technical difficulties. We're in the 4th minute right now with Colorado Springs and Phoenix. As Chris had mentioned, Phoenix blasted Colorado a couple weeks ago. Feels like it anyway. July the 30th, 4-0 was the final. They're undefeated as Phoenix in the last 7 matches against Colorado Springs, dating back to 2017, outscoring them 19-5.
Good recovery tackle there from Darnell King. Wasn't able to quite connect the pass that he wanted to, but did fantastic to recover there, block the cross.
So Lindley here on the corner. This corner kick is brought to you by Divot Law Firm. We are in your corner. See how Lindley does on service. 5 in the box for Colorado Springs, and that header's misplaced.
It's not the worst delivery. The attacker did well to get to the ball first, but just needed to glance it towards goal. Maybe not try to angle it with so much power, but not a good delivery and a good run there. Just not quite the contact on the header that he would have liked.
Luke going to have to be an anchor tonight for Phoenix. You know, almost in recent years, you wouldn't call a Phoenix victory on the road against Colorado Springs an upset, but the positions that they're at right now, that would certainly be the case.
And at the moment, Phoenix have to take each game one game at a time. They can't get too caught up in their previous success against Rio Grande Valley, and they definitely can't dwell on the lack of success that they've had this season. They have to take every game one at a time for the remaining games that they have of the season, and then see if they can build some momentum and confidence and get some wins going into the postseason and see how far it can take them. I think they can still creep into the final playoff space, and given how poor by their standards their season's been so far, you know, if they're able to take a spot in the playoffs, you could view that as a win for them based upon the season that they've had.
And don't forget, once you get in the postseason, a random injury, a bad handball, all of a sudden you could find yourself into the next round. Upsets are certainly possible.
Yeah, once you get into the knockout phases, everything changes. Many times we see the regular season champions don't end up being the playoff champions, so it's very difficult to predict what can happen based upon what happened in the regular season. But I think Phoenix is a team that everybody wants to see in those post games. You want to see the best players. J.J. Williams, one of the best attackers in the league. Sejas, and a number of players that they have tremendous quality.
Those dudes do damage. Sejas has 7 goals so far this season. He had 2 of them against Rio Grande Valley. Those 2 goals helping him in the 15th and 67th minute. All a part of the difference as they beat Rio Grande Valley by a final score of 2-1. Those were his first 2 goals since May the 15th. Another run here. Foster out wide, looking for a teammate. Lute, rather fortunate. That back line staying put, helping him out. The match continues to stay scoreless, but Colorado Springs trying to push the attack on the counter.
And here we see Haji Barry doing what he does so well. Well-timed runs in behind, depth, explodes in the back 4 for Phoenix on this occasion. Just unable to find a teammate. The goalkeeper shot off the angle to goal. None of his teammates really gave him an easy angle for the layoff. That's a huge let-off for Phoenix Rising. But again, Haji Barry doing what he does best, exploiting the space behind. Going to be interesting to see if Phoenix adapt, because it didn't look like any of the defenders had the pace to keep up with Haji Barry in that instance. Tons of space.
Nice job by Lambert to get that left foot out to escape. The shot attempt going sailing well over the net. Galena on that attempt. That corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Ambitious effort there from Galena. It was the right decision in my mind. It was a good first touch. He just didn't quite get his head over the ball and the connection that we would like to test the goalkeeper. But you can see positive intentions from Colorado Springs in this opening 10 minutes of this game.
We've seen a couple runs early on by Colorado Springs. Phoenix doesn't have anything on their side of the ledger just yet. King trying to control it. He can't. But this will be a throw-in for Phoenix. Farrell out there in the back line. Kevin Lambert is there. James Musa.
And it's going to be interesting to see how this Phoenix back line adapts to deal with Haji Barry. That, if there's a question mark over Phoenix right now, it's most certainly their defense. The game midweek against Rio Grande Valley, there was opportunities late on in that game for Rio Grande Valley to equalize and bring the game to 2-2. So it wasn't as a convincing win as you might have envisioned. If they're going to make the playoffs, that back line has to become a lot more stable. They have to get more confidence and cohesiveness. They need to keep clean sheets, because that's going to be very important for them getting across that final hurdle into the playoffs. But tonight they're up against Haji Barry, who's been so difficult for defenses to play at so far this season, and you've already seen it in the opening 10 minutes, his ability to time runs in behind. Given it a little bit more quality on the pass, he would have had the opportunity to convert those chances himself. But just as we spoke about, the support that he gets, the angles that he gets in support to provide the opportunity to lay off for teammates, hasn't quite been as accurate as you may like. So it's going to be interesting to see how that defense deals with that tonight.
They're looking for Barry. See Barry moving all the way around the pitch. Enriquez delivering. Loon elevating for that. I don't know if he got a piece of it, but Loon at 6'6", he really gets up for it. So you have to know that ball's elevated as we look at it again.
Enriquez here with this delivery. I think it just catches a little bit more speed than the goalkeeper envisioned. Wasn't necessarily as straightforward to deal with, but I think he's happy to see that go out for a goal kick.
Rising, trying to settle things down. This will be a throw-in for Colorado Springs. Switchbacks took care of business, beating New Mexico United 1-0 back on August the 27th. Got shot of 8-3. 3 of them on target. Haji Barry, the game-winning goal, occurred in the 39th minute. What else is new?
That goal for Barry ended up being a contender, if not the winner, for goal of the week, I believe. Also a fantastic individual effort.
No surprise, and I would imagine a lot of those on his resume throughout this year. Second USL Championship in goals being scored. Olaski is the top dog for the time being. The postseason accolades will come his way, and now it's a matter if he'll do damage during the postseason itself. Playoffs are a different animal. Here's Barry.
We spoke briefly about his ability to make runs in behind, but that just showed a whole different element of this game. The ball comes out to his back to goal with a defender tight to him. He controls it, nutmegs a midfielder, and then lays it off to his teammate. You can see he's been active all over the field, not just centrally, but in both wide areas. Just keeping the ball moving and being an option, giving defenders difficulty to think about. They don't know whether to follow him when he comes short, and then he makes runs in behind and exploits the space behind. It's very difficult to track him. He's not predictable in the way he moves.
Enriquez trying to deliver that, and Luke comes out again. 13th minute here. Most of the possession games so far being handled properly by Colorado Springs.
And we always discuss when teams come into Colorado, if the altitude has an impact on their ability to perform. For sure, there's a little bit less oxygen in the atmosphere when you're coming to play up in the mountains in Colorado, and how it impacts the teams that come to play here.
J.J. Williams not happy with that call. Williams is a little hot right now, too. Talking with Brad Johnson.
There we see the ball coming into Barry there. Phenomenal first touch there, just to take all the load off the ball, and then just the little nutmeg on the centre midfielder there, and then lay it off to his teammate. For such a big guy, he has so many good attributes with his feet, his movement, his finishing.
Yeah, you better get on your heels. More, you're too little playing this league. You're too big for you. This game's too big for you, more.
No shots registered yet from either side. Possession arrows all towards Colorado Springs, 63%. And as soon as I say that, they're trying to change their fate right now. Out wide on the attack, Williams looking to pull the trigger. Williams tried going 1-on-2 to no avail. Good transition defense by Colorado Springs.
Yeah, Colorado doing a great job there of getting bodies behind the ball, but they just gave it away almost immediately. Once they won it back, errant pass gave it straight back to Phoenix to continue building pressure in the final third against them. But the mentality and attitude of Colorado when they lost possession of the ball to get players back behind the ball as quick as possible was pretty impressive. And that's also something that I think has been missing from Phoenix's games earlier in this year. When the ball transitioned, players weren't necessarily tracking players and getting back into positions and getting their shape as quick as possible. And they were being punished because of that. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's one of the aspects of Phoenix's game that Coach Wangera is able to have an impact on pretty quickly.
Puzzling as it is for Phoenix, 3-7-5 since May 28th. It's unbelievable where they're at, because they have 9 victories in the season, 12 defeats, and 5 draws. Barry camping out in the box, contact at the top of the screen. No whistle, no play on. Right-footed shot, and it goes sailing over the net. About as clean of a look as we can get this evening. I'll tell you what, Amo didn't miss by much.
Great opportunity there, Fama, and you see just lacking composure. Phenomenal opportunity, just smashes it as hard as he can rather than picking a corner and slotting it or getting the ball across the goalkeeper on target. Just lean back, hits it without the kind of connection he'd like, kind of shanks it a little bit, to say the least. And that's a huge opportunity wasted there from Colorado. Just a little bit more calm and composure in that final third and opportunity, and they would have found themselves in the lead. But the opening 15 minutes has most certainly been all about Colorado putting Phoenix Rising under pressure.
Yeah, it certainly has been the case. They've come out with better energy. Certainly a stronger flow to their game. That one just misses Barry. And for all intents and purposes, they're playing like a more desperate team, even though they're not getting out of position.
Yeah, you're just seeing that little bit more anticipation. They're on the front foot a bit more. First to challenges, getting their body in the way. Just looking a little bit fresher than Phoenix right now.
Caldwell, first time we call his name tonight. That's at the open of the show. Arturo Rodriguez amongst the starting 11 tonight for Phoenix. He has it now. Rodriguez, nice move. Working around, middle of the pitch.
Started off a good play there from Rodriguez. Some cute feet, took 3 players out of the game, but unfortunately the final pass wasn't able to find one of his teammates, and now they're under pressure again.
Barry streaking down the middle of the pitch. Barry tries to deflect it in. He can't get enough muscle on it.
Right decision, just didn't quite get the contact on the ball that he would have liked. Clever finish, to be fair. You thought he was trying to smash it. He just sent his body one way, used his right foot to try and send the ball around the other side of the goalkeeper, but just ended up slowing it down and taking the pace out of the ball. And again, Phoenix Rising will be happy that he didn't get the connection he liked on that, and Lambert was able to get that ball and clear it away. But again, another warning sign for Phoenix Rising. We're seeing some great connection here in the final third between Barry and Amo in the way they're connecting to each other. Whether it's Barry making the runs behind or Amo making the runs behind, these two have some great chemistry right now that we're witnessing.
Talking about climbing the ladder, Lambert was all over Barry. Lambert is 6'3", and Barry is 6'1". But Lambert just walked all over his back.
Yeah, and you wonder if Colorado are going to rue these chances that they've not taken in this opening 30 minutes. They've had 2 or 3 really good chances to test the goalkeeper and potentially put themselves in the lead, and they've not taken advantage of them. And you wonder if this is going to come back to make them pay.
Injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health.
It's always good when you see these matchups. Lambert, very aggressive defender, coming up against Barry, you know that they're both having to be at the top of their game tonight in terms of how they're thinking. Lambert can't afford to give Barry an inch of space because he knows he'll get punished. So it's a game of cat and mouse between these two, and it's a really exciting matchup.
Almost like a light heavyweight matchup with the size that they have. Better than the flyweights or the lightweights. Lindley with that right foot misses the net by a good couple feet.
Yeah, never looked like the goalkeeper never looked threatened from that attempt. Looked like it was going wide of the post all the time.
Lute making his 26th start tonight in 26 contests. Drafted 37th overall back in 2019 by FC Cincinnati. And joined Louisville City FC on loan that same year. Joined Phoenix last season, so he's been in the game for quite a while, but in Phoenix just for a year plus.
I think the good thing about Phoenix having a coaching change is that it makes a lot of these players uncomfortable.
Talk about making people uncomfortable. Here's Barry on a clean break, but good closing speed at the last second.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it was offside, but again, the finish lacked a little bit of composure. Even if it is onside, it doesn't test the goalkeeper or hit the target, and it's a great opportunity. Again, the movement, the run, the pass through, all brilliant, but the final touch to get the shot off goal hasn't quite been there in the opening 20 minutes. Colorado have had some great chances.
You know, these teams have plenty of tape on the opposition, but it just seems like tonight for Phoenix, they're unaware of the real skill of Haji Barry.
Yeah, and the danger is if Phoenix push up to the halfway line and try to play a higher line, they leave the space behind them exposed, and this is where Barry can be really dangerous. And obviously, if they drop deep, then Colorado are able to have possession of the ball and sustain the pressure in the final third. So it's going to be interesting as the games go on to see how the tactics play out from each coaches. We know Juan Guerra's team like to possess the ball, and they've not necessarily been the winners of that battle so far in this game in possessing the ball or creating goal-scoring opportunities. So for sure, it's not the most pleasing opening to this game for Phoenix Rising, but there's obviously going to be adjustments and changes as things go on.
So what kind of tweak would you make immediately right now with Barry?
I mean, they have to weather the storm right now. Everything at the moment is in favor for Colorado, so they have to realize that Colorado having a spell of good possession, good chances. When Phoenix get possession of the ball, they just have to be a little bit more assertive with it, a lot more accomplished in what it is they're trying to do, whether that's work the ball into wide areas, whether that's get the ball into J.J. Williams up top and play off him. So far, it's not been clear to see what Phoenix are trying to do when they're in possession of the ball and how they're approaching this game.
Not been on it at all. Here's Foster. Back line is yet to be challenged just yet for Colorado Springs, which is a good thing for the home team and their fans. Lindley.
And we were just saying that there's so much at stake for Phoenix right now in this team. With a new head coach, everybody is under evaluation. You know, I don't think Juan Guerra, as much as he may want to make the playoffs, and I'm sure that's one of his goals, I don't think the organization is judging him on whether he makes the playoffs or not. You know, this is not his roster that he's put together, and he has a small period to try and get the best out of him. I think next year, you know, he's going to be running his eyes over now who he wants to keep for next year, who he wants to bring in. We know that the teams that he has and that style that he likes to play. So he's going to want to impose himself on this team a little bit more next season, and this is almost like a tryout for the remaining players. Like, he wants to see the mentality, he wants to see how they train, he wants to see how they play in games. And this is going to define the future for these guys for next season.
Bad turnover, nearly given away, and Colorado Springs ever so close to making it 1-0.
So how these Phoenix Rising players perform, you know, they're genuinely playing for their futures. And that can either be a motivating factor that brings out the best in you, but sometimes that pressure can also be too much for players, and it can be detrimental to their performance. So it's going to be a very exciting game, I think. But it's just interesting to see what some of these players really have inside them, what they potentially have to bring it up another level, and if they're really able to go on as a unit and a team and go on and push and get into the playoffs.
Have you ever been on a team that was in a similar situation?
Most of the teams I played on made the playoffs. We always had an exceptional winning mentality. I don't think I played on any teams when we had mid-season coaching changes. I think most of the changes in coaches always came at the end of the season. And that's what we're talking about. Does that mid-season change give the team a boost and bring out the best in some of those players? Or does it compound the kind of unstable season they've had so far this year? Strong tackle there from Darnell King.
Earns himself a booking, too, in the 23rd minute.
Of course, that now means that he has to tread a little differently for the remainder of the game. But it also, sometimes that's the spark that your team needs to get everybody going. Sometimes somebody has to go and put in a strong challenge or be a little bit more aggressive, intense, to send the message to the rest of your team that they need to step it up. And, you know, he's the leader in the team. He's taken that responsibility. But now he has to be very careful in timing his tackles right and not making any mistakes for the remainder of the game.
Delivery. Here, that header volleyed around, and it is cleared at the last second. That yellow card issued to King. Sponsored by Diversis Health, mental health, and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. So not a lot of physicality on both sides yet, but that booking to King occurring in the 23rd minute as Foster was taken down with good force.
And this is what we're talking about tactically. When Phoenix drop deeper, Colorado are able to get the ball deep into their half and sustain pressure there. When they pull up to the halfway line, it leaves space for Hadji Barry behind. So they're somewhere caught in between a rock and a hard place right now. The key to them getting back into this game.
Could be Rodriguez here. Arturo, no numbers though. Arturo trying to create and manipulate the defense.
As it was trying to say, the keys to them getting into this game is either hitting them on the counter attack and making them pay, as they almost just did. A great ball in behind there, but they did a good job getting numbers behind the ball again and forcing Phoenix to play the ball backwards. Or they have to have their own periods of sustained pressure and really impose their style and the brand on the game so far. And I think that's where they've struggled so far, is that they haven't had enough possession to dictate the flow of the game. They've been reacting to everything that Colorado have done, and evidently that's having an impact on the energy of their players, because they're doing a lot of chasing, a lot of closing down, a lot of running, and that means that sometimes when you get the ball after spells of closing down intense, you don't necessarily have the energy to go forward anymore, so you end up playing negative or sideways passes and not able to penetrate into the final third. So I think Phoenix definitely need to get hold of the ball and sustain some possession for a period of time.
Enriquez down again. It's the second time he's fallen down the last 3 minutes. His injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. Henriquez was dropped in a previous possession just outside the 18. Same right leg that he's nursing too. But yeah, we're 25 plus minutes into this affair, Chris. I'd venture to guess that Phoenix has been in the attacking third for what, all of 90 seconds?
Yeah, and you know, Juan Guerra is a possession coach, 100%. If you talk to me, he's about possessing the ball. They want to play with the ball. That's how they can impose their style on the game. And his style of the game is definitely not a team that allows the other opponents to have 60% and him just have 40%. Of course, we're at the phase of the season where it's about business. It's about getting 3 points. So who wins the possession battle? I don't think they're that concerned about it. It's whether you can leave the game with 3 points at the end of it. But in order to do that, I feel like possession is something that you need to build the confidence in players and to be able to impose your style on the game. So for sure, they want to try to rectify those numbers. They're obviously going to create more goal scoring opportunities the more they have of the ball. So knowing the coach, what he demands of his players, what he demands of his team, there's room for improvement for Phoenix. Colorado, as we mentioned, they've had good chances, they've had the better possession, but they haven't made Phoenix pay so far, and that could come back to hurt them.
Leave teams hanging around, all of a sudden they'll come back and bite you. Enriquez back on the pitch, delivering for Barry. That header skies over the net. Lute did have a beat on it though.
And for Phoenix, they need to find, we haven't mentioned Williams enough so far in this opening 30 minutes. We haven't mentioned Sejas. And these are the players who you can get the ball to in the final third. They can make things happen. They can score goals. They have individual ability. You know, Sejas is left foot. He can get the ball from 30 yards and make the keeper have to make phenomenal saves or score from that distance. But he's not been able to get on the ball enough in any dangerous areas to create anything or make anything happen. So Phoenix need to try and do a better job of finding their danger players in the final third in areas where they can hurt their opponents.
It's the application of pressure that Phoenix has lacked to apply so far. But again, plenty of time with the match being scoreless. They're still not chasing the game, which is a good note for Juan Garrett and company.
I think Phoenix created a reputation for themselves that it's hard to live up to.
Right.
Those bodies bombing forward, that aggression, that energy that they were known for became kind of their identity. It's kind of not the same Phoenix team that we're seeing right now, and maybe it's unrealistic to expect these players to live up to that. But
Enriquez pulls the trigger with that right foot.
that wasn't far away at all. Depending on where you were sitting in the stadium, it looked like it hit the back of the net, but great effort there.
Take a look at this shot again from Enriquez, who got himself off the deck.
If he's carrying an injury, sure didn't show it then. But again, that opportunity comes from a giveaway in the middle of the park from Phoenix Rising, and Enriquez almost makes them pay.
Rodriguez in heavy pursuit. See if Phoenix can switch the pitch. Anything that he can do now, Arturo Rodriguez would be more than welcoming, especially with J.J. Williams being relatively silent. You mentioned Chris.
You can see even their attacking that overhit pass. Foster's recovery run was crazy. He had probably 10-yard, the attacker had 10 yards head start on him, and Foster finds a way to catch him. But the quality in the pass needed to be better in order to give Rodriguez a chance of getting onto it. And I think that's, for the players that Phoenix Rising have, they're underperforming. You know, the quality on the passes, the through balls hasn't been there so far in this game. And I don't think that's placing too much expectancies on these players. These are some players who have been at the top of this league for a long period of time. Something this season hasn't gone well as a team unit or individually also.
Just the expectation of being a professional when you're this deep into the season, you really lack excuses.
I mean, as I mentioned, the head coach right now will be, show me what you got. That's pretty much to the players. You know, we want to try and make the postseason. Let's see if you've got what it takes. If you don't, he has no choice but to make changes for next season. So these players really have a lot of stake in how they go about this game. I think the main thing you look for in this situation as coach is the mentality and the character of the players. And when you're in a tough time, you want players who have the demeanor, the character, the grit to get you out of those tough times. And of course, Phoenix have been in a tough time this season, and it's a test of character for these players. The ones who are able to overcome this adversity and go forward, you know, they're the ones that the coach is going to be looking to rely on to build upon next season. The ones who continue to underperform and not give the intensity and the effort or the quality that they're expected, you know, there will probably be very difficult conversations, because I don't think anybody in the organization is happy with the way things have gone this season. And the head coach has changed. Evidently, players will change, philosophy will change, styles will change. There's obviously a lot of changes coming from the organization going forward. So
a lot of moving parts, needless to say. That goes into a long season when you aren't successful. But time to make some things change. Barry with an extra gear.
Even if you watch, when that ball went through, the defenders are looking one direction forward and Barry's making runs behind them. They're not reading his movement very well, and that's why they're struggling to deal with him. They're not aware of his movement. His movement is very good. Their awareness has to be a little bit better in order to try and have some impact on him. Right now, he's making those runs in behind, and when he arrives at the ball, he's having 2 or 3 seconds on the ball to pick his head up and make a decision before somebody's able to get closer and close him down. The layoff, the support runs just haven't been right, but there's been some great opportunities just to lay the ball off to teammates and get fairly straightforward goals. But just the connection in the Final Third hasn't quite been there so far.
You can see why he was the 2021 USL Championship MVP. Golden Boot winner as well. Rodriguez, good agility. Rodriguez, no numbers. Rodriguez again taken down. Rodriguez trying to get up.
I thought Rodriguez was unlucky not to get the free kick there from the referee. It looked like he dummied Farrell, went one way, Farrell dangled a leg and brought him down, but the referee was having none of it and told him to get up and play on. You can see Rodriguez here talking to the referee, not happy with that decision at all.
Still chirping, yeah, it's Sejas as well. Luis giving Brad Jensen the business. Lamar couldn't do anything with it. Enriquez jostling a bit. Farrell came up. He gets sandwiched. King took him down.
Interesting to see this decision go against Enriquez. This was Rodriguez earlier. I think he's right. I think it was a free kick. I think Farrell does bring him down, but the referee wasn't convinced.
I think when your legs get split by a defender, it should render a foul.
Yeah, and I think this free kick's actually the referee making amends, because I think Enriquez on this occasion was the player that actually got fouled, but the free kick's gone in favor of Phoenix.
We'll find out who takes this. Rodriguez camping out there. Won't be him. The delivery cleared out immediately. Quinn tried to go a little bit high on that. Quinn delivering a nice cold shoulder as well. So it appears like it was early on this contest. The physicality was going to get ratcheted up, and now players on both sides are dialing it up, and the rhetoric towards the lead official.
Yeah, both teams getting a little bit more physical and aggressive in their style of play, and the referee having to make some key calls during the flow of the game. It just looks like the temperature is turning up a little bit for both teams right now.
Joe Farrell is down. Injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. Hope that's just a cramp.
Yeah, at this stage of the season, keeping players fresh and healthy after playing so many games is so key to having any kind of success. For Phoenix to make the playoffs, let alone being successful in the postseason, managing the load of players and the recovery and ensuring that they're able to perform to their peak on game day. It's a challenging task for the physical training staff and the doctors and the medical team.
Add that all up with travel, airlines, hotels, buses, and the whole smash, especially when you're not sleeping in your own bed.
That's why when you win on the road, that's why it's always that little bit more special, because of some of those adverse factors that you have to face that are completely out of your control. You just have to find a way to deal with it and still perform to your best and win games.
It's one thing that Phoenix has yet to do this year. They're 2-8-2 on the road. 2-2-1 though in their last 5 overall. The goal is always to play well above 500 at home, and even if you can on the road. 36th minute here. And most of the action's been into the attacking third for Colorado Springs. Rodriguez broke that up. For as sour as things might look or feel for Phoenix, you do know at least they show up to the party with good firepower. I mean, J.J. Williams is not a one-trick pony. Sejas is there to complement him.
Yeah, and I think the longer the game stays 0-0, it's going to build confidence for Phoenix that they can go into the game and steal a winner.
Barry had his hand up inside the 18. Let's see how they deliver this. Barry on the run. That header! Good look from Barry this time. They are continuing to push against Newton Company.
Yeah, I feel like that's the 4th or 5th chance that Colorado have had now that they've not been able to make the keeper make a save. And I think that's the key, is that they've had good chances, but they've just not forced the keeper to make any kind of difficult stop so far in this opening half. It's a good delivery again. Barry finds himself in dangerous areas, but just unable to guide this one on frame.
Think it has anything to do with Lute's size?
I think they're just lacking that. They have that extra second in the final third that they're not taking right now to be composed and finish.
Foster wanted it back. Good job by King to break it up. King extremely physical. Foster wanted to deliver that, and that will not count.
Again, King has to be careful here, right? I think he gets nutmegged, does make a little bit of contact with the defender. Interesting to see what the referee does here. I actually think there's a little bit of playmaking there for it.
It's pretty well. I mean, that'll win you an award somewhere in Hollywood.
Yeah, Ungalina there definitely sells the foul to the referee. I think the referee will probably give King a talking to here, and then knows he's walking a very tight rope.
So Galena trying to sell it. And delivering another yellow card to King, but to no avail this time. Call that loose injury stoppage, brought to you by Centura Health. It's part of the gamesmanship. Any advantage that you can get tactically, that includes playing a man up, you want to get it.
I think yellow card being issued to somebody on the bench. Darnell King, obviously the player in shot, but it's not issued to him. If it was issued to him, that would be his second yellow and he'd be having an early shower. But I think it's issued to one of the coaching staff.
Wait for confirmation on that. But nevertheless, second yellow card provided tonight by lead official Brad Jensen. At least he has the conversation with his fellow mates, did Jensen. Make sure if you do make something on a booking like that, you get it right. Enriquez.
Yeah, I think the referee's doing a decent job of managing the flow of the game. It is becoming an intense game. In the past 10 minutes, there's been a lot more contact, a lot more fouls, a lot more free kicks. It's a great game. The last thing we want to do is see either team go down to 10 men and ruin the flow of the game. I think he's doing a good job of having conversations with players, managing them, reminding them that some of them may be getting close to going into his book, but still allowing the game to be physical and contentious.
Mamo was down. Another injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. Lindley. Let's see what he does on service here. Working that. It's cleared aside. It'll be another corner kick for Colorado Springs. It's a corner kick brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well, cheer loud. We're hanging out with you on a pleasant Saturday night. Thanks for being with us. Plenty of options that are available, and of course, USL Championship. A lot of action throughout the evening. We'll hang out with you with all this drama developing. Not only here, but across the United States, which is nice. We'll get you some scores and updates at the break.
And of course, we spoke about Phoenix's positioning right now, 5 points outside the playoffs.
Again, chances continue to flow. Barry moving at left foot off a couple different defenders, but stays away.
Phoenix can thank Lunk for keeping them still in this game. What a save. Looks like he saw the ball late and just reacted, keeping that one out of the back of net. But again, Colorado, good opportunity there to take themselves in the lead. We were just saying before that corner kick that Phoenix, you know, 1 point draws isn't going to be good enough for them to squeak into the playoffs. They're going to need to get 3 points in as many games as possible between now and the end of the season. Just getting a point and trying to leave it up to the other teams around them to drop points isn't going to be enough. They need to go up with the mentality that every game they need to get 3 points.
Go back to that delivery again. You mentioned the extension by Luke. Helps when you're 6'5". This is a great angle by our guys.
Yeah, and you see that they deliver those balls consistently to that nearer post area. And you see on this occasion, the attacker does glance it towards goal, but the keeper does phenomenal there to time his save and push it away.
Farrell again down. Injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. Shots right now are 9-0 in favor of Colorado Springs. Nothing on target for them, though. That's 6 of them, make it 7 of them inside the 18. And now they're credited at least with 1 shot on goal. So for Phoenix, they've gone over 41 minutes without a shot.
Yeah, you know, that's not a reflection of this coach. We know that's not him. So if they can get to halftime 0-0, the adjustments that he makes, I imagine it can only get stronger for Phoenix in the second half. Colorado, 11 shots, 2 on target, no goals scored. You know, that's the statistic that we're looking at now to see if that's going to come back and punish them. We know they've been the dominant team in this first half, but they haven't been able to make it count. So if Phoenix are able to get to halftime 0-0 and they're able to make adjustments and change their approach in the second half of this game, I can only see Phoenix getting stronger in the second half. Going to be interested to see if Colorado are able to continue creating chances at the ratio that they are right now, and are they going to be able to step up and convert them?
Impossible to dominate for a full 90, but my goodness, it's...
Yeah, and they've been very much on the front foot for the majority of this first half. They've not really been forced into doing very much defending whatsoever. That is difficult to sustain over the course of 9 minutes, especially against a team like Phoenix, where you know they do have quality players when they're organized correctly and when players are playing with their full confidence. They do have players who have individual ability and able to turn the game on its head by themselves. So it's going to be an interesting second half, to say the least. This first half isn't open yet, but interesting if Colorado are able to make one more push and try to go into halftime with the lead.
I'd be very curious what the conversation will be like in the Phoenix locker room for Juan Guerra.
I think he'll definitely take a positive approach. You know, they're still very much in this game. There's a new coach, a new team, a new style, probably new ideas, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time for players to adapt to that. The fact that there's still 0-0 and there's still 45 minutes to go away and get 3 points, I think that has to be the focus for them in the halftime team talk. Is how can they now, they've seen enough of Colorado in the first half to see where they're weak, where they may be able to exploit them, to see where they're strong, and now to go in and discuss that halftime and create a plan for the second half.
Now, Chris, in defense, though, for Juan Guerra, you've been around the world, so you know tactically there are plenty of managers that will light a fire under you with different vocabulary and different tones in their voice.
Yeah, and I think the difference is that he's coming into a squad or a group of players that he's inherited. So he may not know how to fire up each one of those individuals yet. I think when you recruit your own players, you kind of have an idea of how to fire those players up or what they're going to react to, or if they gel well with your style as a coach. I think him just inheriting this group, he has to try and be as positive with them as he can, try to be as direct in his instruction as he can to make it very clear, so there's not too many grey areas, because he doesn't have a lot of time to input his ideas onto the team, and just try to get the best out of them as much as possible. He may know a couple of players in the squad already who he knows he can light a fire under, but we're in a generation here where communicating with players and teaching players is a little bit different than generations before, where you kind of give them the hairdryer treatment. Now players are a lot more intelligent, a lot wiser, and to get the best out of them there's a lot of different approaches. So it's going to be interesting, but I think that he has to take the approach of how do I get the best out of these players individually and collectively going into the second half.
You might turn out the lights if coaches' messages need to be explained via social media, TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, you see the discussion so often of coaches talking about how the previous generation of players, how they were able to be a lot more direct with them, hold them a lot more accountable, and this generation you teach and approach them and get the best out of them in different ways. I don't think it's right or wrong. I think it's just an evolution of how coaching and man management has developed over the years.
This corner kick brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. See the stoppage time allotted to us, 3 minutes of it. Stoppage time brought to you by TikTok Shop.
Good delivery there from Quinn, but Caldwell came up big, pushing it away from goal.
Any kind of action for Caldwell, I would imagine, will be appreciated. Of course, more so with a lead, or at least preferably for him. Of course, with different sports, you want to feel like you're in the flow of the game. But if you're Caldwell, perfectly content, not breaking a sweat. Rodriguez's push to the right side. Noir trimmed and fired.
That's always a challenge for goalkeepers, right? If your team's playing well, you may not see much of the play, but you have to stay concentrated and focused, because that one moment you might be called upon to make a game-stopping save despite having not touched the ball much throughout the flow of the game. So that's why goalkeepers' focus and concentration and ability to stay connected to the game, even when they're not seeing that much action, is so vital.
The question is, what does Juan Guerra do at the end of this first half?
I think he takes the positive. There's 45 minutes to go, it's 0-0, and they're still very much in this game. I think any tweaks that he makes is going to have a positive impact. I think he now has a clearer picture of, after seeing the first half of his staff, of where they can exploit, how they can approach this game differently. Maybe they need to put more pressure, put JJ in Williams where he can put pressure on Torilla Musa in the back line. Maybe they need to start getting Darnell King overlapping, using that energy and speed that he has on the flaps, put more pressure in the final third. I think, you know, they'll have some ideas of how they can be more offensive-minded in the second half.
Going long again. Physicality as Galena was taken down, and this will be a yellow card against King. And it's the second one tonight. And I'll tell you what, that smile is not sincere.
Yeah, we were just speaking about Darnell King making overlapping runs and getting more involved in attacking going into the final third, but he's not going to see any more action tonight. In the second minute of injury time in the first half, he's not going to be returning for the second half. I haven't seen 2 yellow cards, evidently a red card.
Second one of the night. This yellow card sponsored by Diversus Health, Mental Health, and Well-Being for All. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Agree with the call?
I mean, the accumulations of fouls was getting tight. He was putting the referee in a situation where he has to make a decision whether it's a yellow card or not. It's tough, but...
But is this incumbent upon the players or the official to set the tone early on, if you will or won't allow physicality?
I think the referee has allowed physicality, but you know, it's just one of those situations where it might have been one foul too many. But that's a huge loss now for Phoenix Rising. Darnell King, we know he's the leader in the team. He brings energy to the team, a huge organizer, somebody that the players within the organization and the teams look up to. And now they're going to be playing the second half down a man. There's going to be a huge dent to their opportunity to go on and win this game.
King playing in his 25th contest tonight. The 31-year-old had logged nearly 2,000 minutes with Phoenix this season. Team leader in that category. Rodriguez bending it right to Loop. Perfect positioning for him. And the lead official will blow the whistle, closing out this first half, and Loop will punt this thing away. Clear frustration for him, but all is not lost yet for Phoenix Rising FC. Amo trying to get under the skin of the 6'6" goalkeeper, but even if he's chirping a bit, this match right now is still scoreless.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be rough now for Phoenix Rising. We spoke about being a different second half, but that red card has completely changed Coach Wangera's team talk. It's going to be interesting now to see how Phoenix approach coming out trying to get 3 points in this second half.
Get your cell phone out and turn your camera on, because the Fox 21 Storm Team has a new weather app that you can download right now by scanning this code. It allows our team of meteorologists to send you push alerts wherever you are. It's a lot like us knocking on your door.
Oh.
With these weather alerts, we deliver important storm information for your specific area with detailed videos directly from the Fox 21 Storm Team Weather Center. It's weather in your neighborhood. Download the new Fox 21 Storm Team weather app today.
Join us for the 14th annual Be Over Rio Wear 5K Run 3K Walk on September 18th at America the Beautiful Park. Funds raised will help support people with gynecologic cancer in Colorado. Register at suesgift.org today.
Do you have a kiddo who loves soccer and the Switchbacks? Now's their time to shine. One lucky kiddo could win a family 4-pack of tickets to a Switchbacks home game, a chance to be featured on Fox 21's Loving Living Local, a photo with mascot Ziggy and Maximus, and the chance to kick a goal with them during Nava's game day preview. Just go to fox21news.com under the More tab. Click on Switchbacks FC and submit your child's best soccer playing photo.
Looking to grow your business? Fox 21 and SoCo CW are here to help. We can reach your consumers thanks to our award-winning news team, local sports coverage, and our connection and commitment to the community. Our exclusive partnership with Marshall Marketing will give you detailed demographics and buying habits in Southern Colorado, allowing us to target your advertising campaign with precision to maximize your advertising results. To learn more, email advertisewithus@kxrm.com.
At the break right now, and halftime is brought to you by Widener, David Gascon, Chris Nurse, saying hello to you from Widener Field. Match right now is scoreless. Colorado Springs in Phoenix, and a desperate win for Phoenix is needed here tonight. Trying to move up the Western Conference standings. I want to get away from all the fun right now and to dip into something serious, as tonight's honorary healthcare professional of the match is Jelena Reiner, registered nurse in the patient rehab department. Thank you for all that you've done to help our community. The healthcare professional of the match is co-sponsored by Encore Electric, along with Olson Plumbing and Heating.
We love the nurses.
Of course. They do so much for us. All the thankless things, morning, noon, and night. And it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's 12s, it's 24s, and we've seen that showcased over the last couple of years because of COVID-19. Take a look at the schedules now for Colorado Springs, the upcoming slate of games. The next 5 for them.
Yeah, it's good to see 2 of those 5 are going to be at home. We spoke about the importance and what they still have to play for. They want to solidify a home game for the playoffs. And if they're able to sustain that 3rd position, it's going to be mission accomplished. So those home ties have been tremendous for them. They've given them a huge advantage against their opponents. You can see the dominance that they've had in the first half of tonight's performance. Going to be interesting to see if they can continue that for the remaining 5 games.
And on the other side for Phoenix Rising, 6 of the next 7 opponents are from the Western Conference. And you see right there, they got 3 of them on the road straight.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy if Phoenix are going to make it into the playoffs, but they need to do it the hard way to prove that that's where they belong. They have the talent in the team. We know that that's one of the biggest organizations with the league. Now it's time for them to show up and perform. If they're able to get 15 points out of these 5 games coming up, there's no reason we're not going to see them in the postseason. But it's time for the players to shut up and show up.
One luxury they do have, traveling to Oakland, San Diego, Sacramento. Transportation won't be too long. But right now at the break, 45 minutes in the books from Widener Field. Colorado Springs, Phoenix are scoreless. More to come on the other side.
I'm on a routine. I'm on a routine.
Calling all Switchbacks fans. Now is your chance to be featured on Loving Living Local. All you have to do is submit your best fan photo on our website for a chance to be featured on Loving Living Local with our host, Nava. And you'll receive a fan swag goodie bag full of awesome Switchbacks gear. For your chance to be our winner, just go to fox21news.com under the Sports tab and click Switchbacks FC to enter.
Halftime right now, it's brought to you by Widener. Colorado Springs, Phoenix Rising FC. Scoreless right now. Darnell King done for the night. Picked up 2 yellow cards in the first half. So we'll play a player down for the rest of the way. As we take a look beyond all this. And into the future, Chris, a lot of things on tap in USL Championship. News in the notes around the league. Sacramento Republic FC going to travel to Orlando City SC in the coming days. Oddly enough, we've been talking about that for quite a while, and it feels like, but it's upon us. And of course, Jacksonville, they're going to based investment group, including Tim Tebow. I don't know if you'll have Tim Tebow doing any of his regular celebrations that he did with the Florida Gators, but nevertheless, it's a name brand guy, and that's going to be involved in the USL Championship.
Yeah, hopefully he's not leading the defensive training sessions, teaching him how to tackle, otherwise we'll be seeing more red cards.
Or pass. He's got some issues with that. You get some fans that'll be excited about that. And then, of course, the scoreboard. What we have coming around the corner. Monday, LA Galaxy 2, Hartford Athletic. Plenty of points at stake. Anything that jumps out to you in particular?
I'm just a big fan of Milan Alowski for Orange County right now. I think a team that's underperformed again how they have this season, and his individual stats has been able to pull up, leading the league in goals scored. I think has been phenomenal for his season. Such an exciting player to watch. I'm interested to see how he closes out the season.
Gaudy numbers for him, and as you mentioned, almost like a one-man wrecking crew. Curious to see if Haji Berry can catch him when the season is over with. But of course, Berry can do damage in this game. He'll do it up a player right now. Colorado Springs has the advantage, 11-10 in that category. Score right now, goose eggs on each side. More to come on the other side. We'll be next.
You know, it says out of workshop for a reason.
I'm so sorry to bother you, boss, but they moved the World Cup to the holidays.
Wait, like the actual World Cup? To my holiday season? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, but that's my time to shine. So, I mean, how am I supposed to compete with that? You know what? Get Blitzen on the phone. I got to get back up there right now. I gotta go.
Fox 21's Loving Living Local is exploring outdoor Colorado in this fully loaded 4xe Jeep Wrangler, and now is your chance to win big. Snap a pic of yourself enjoying Colorado's outdoors. Submit that to fox21news.com. Plus, tune in to Loving Living Local for special segments highlighting things to do and places to see in our beautiful state. At the end of the year, one lucky winner will receive a gift certificate for a prepaid 2-year lease on a brand new Jeep from Perkins Motors. So, show us how you outdoor Colorado.
Do you have a kiddo who loves soccer and the Switchbacks? Now's their time to shine. One lucky kiddo could win a family 4-pack of tickets to a Switchbacks home game, a chance to be featured on Fox 21's Loving Living Local, a photo with mascot Ziggy and Maximus, and the chance to kick a goal with them during Nava's game day preview. Just go to fox21news.com under the More tab. Click on Switchbacks FC and submit your child's best soccer playing photo.
We are Southern Colorado.
Saturday during the summers was our get up and go to Monument Lake fishing. From a little hobby as an 11-year-old kid, it's turned into quite a business.
Our stories matter.
If they're on the trails, if they're in the woods, if they're anywhere, I can be with them now.
Bringing you the most local news.
All of the people that are doing this type of agriculture are trying to do a better thing for society.
We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
Halftime right now brought to you by Widener. David Gascon, Chris Nurse saying hello to you on a Saturday night. Not a lot going on in this contest, at least in the scoring column, but I can assure you, Chris, we've had plenty of action through the first 45. That includes a couple bookings.
Yeah, most of the action has been in favor of Colorado Springs.
Take a look at the early runs. Haji Berry, who's made a name for himself throughout the season, has had a couple decent looks, especially in close range.
Yeah, we spoke about him exploiting that space behind, but here, just the angles his teammates give him. Nobody gives him a clear pass just to create the tap in to goal, but we know that he has the ability to get on those passes, plays them behind.
Enriquez was vying for that pass, never got to him. Berry again, who gave it up. Amo lifted that one. You thought in this sequence he probably should have went a little low.
Yeah, you see the time he has, takes his touch, finds himself now in tons of space, All he needs to do is hit the target, at least make the keeper make a save, but smashes it, shanks it wide of the target. Great opportunity missed there for Colorado Springs.
28th minute, things were getting a little uncharacteristic for Phoenix.
Here we see again Enriquez here with his strike from distance, and depending where you are in the stadium, it looked like he was into the back of the net. This was after he got up from an injury where it looked like he was actually going to leave the pitch, but here we see his ability to strike the ball from distance, takes his touch, settles himself. That's not far away at all, and you can see by the keeper's reaction there, he's lucky to see that one sail over the crossbar.
So Sejas with a dead giveaway, and then the match didn't change for the better for Phoenix. Darnell King will have to watch the second half from the locker room.
Yeah, it's sad to see him leave the pitch so early. You know, that's not his personality and characteristic. He's not a player who's dirty and commits fouls and gets red cards. He's a leader in the team, often makes good decisions, but on this occasion it was one foul too many. The referee had to send him for an early shower. We won't be seeing Darnell in the second half.
Troublesome night for Phoenix in that category. You see the statistics. It is tilted all on one side for the home team.
Yeah, and this is not characteristic of a Juan Guerra team. So as I said, we expect to see something different from Phoenix in the second half. It's always going to be even more difficult now that they're down to 10 men. But Colorado have been yet to hit the back of the net with the 12 chances they've had and the possession they've had. So it's going to be interesting to see if Phoenix Rising are able to absorb that pressure from Colorado Springs having the majority of possession of the ball and able to catch him on the counter-attack and possibly steal the win tonight.
Yeah, real-time standings in the Western Conference. San Antonio is still the top dog with 58 points. Colorado Springs in third position with 49. Phoenix Rising, though, if they want to make a run, you mentioned it just a couple minutes ago, that they can't afford a point. They need 3.
Yeah, the winning is key, and going into the postseason, you have to have that good feeling. You have to have that winning feeling. You need to have that momentum. They have a new coach. They need to get good spirit, good energy, good mindsets around the training sessions, around the organization, and bring that momentum back to the fans. You know that the fans at home in Phoenix can be the extra person that you need to get the momentum, but you've got to produce when you're on the pitch. And so far, the opening first half hasn't been that enthusiastic for us or for the fans or people who are attached to the organization. We know that they have better talent. We know they can perform better. It's time for them to go out there and show it.
All right, so tactically speaking, what would you tweak if you're Juan Guerra?
It's difficult now because they're down a man. So if they go chasing the ball, there's going to be huge pockets and they're going to get cut open and ripped apart. So they really have to stay tight and disciplined as a team. And then they have to pick those moments when they can go forward, try to find Sejas in areas where he can express his individual ability, or they have to be dangerous on counter-attacks or from set pieces. They really have to make those moments count. So it's going to be probably a little bit more of the same. Hopefully they're able to shut down some of the opportunities that Colorado Springs are able to create. But when they get into the final third, they really have to be clinical and they have to make those opportunities count. Because they haven't had that many in the first half, they're not probably going to have that many in the second half, but the 1 or 2 that they do create, they need to make them count.
On that note then, because they have 6 more games remaining after this, would you be inclined to play for the near point?
I don't think the point is good enough, and I don't think it's the right mindset to even get a point. I think if you're going to get a point, then you need to go for the win, and if you don't get the win, then you can settle for a point. But I think if you go after a point, then you're setting yourself up to potentially lose the game.
Fair enough. I spoke on that. They have 7 games after this one tonight. They get Oakland on the 10th, and the next 3 are on the road. Month of October, they have 3 with New York Red Bulls 2, Rio Grande, and Atlanta United 2 to close things out on October the 15th. So they have their work cut out for them, but they create their own mess.
And on paper, some of those teams look like they're teams that they should beat. Right. You're saying New York Red Bulls too, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen on that night?
Injury is always a part of the game, and you even might have a unit or 2 that concedes some player minutes. Keep the legs fresh for the postseason.
Tactically, how Phoenix adjusts to the second half. You know, they've been exploited a lot in the first half defensively. Obviously, Darnell King being one of those key defensive pieces for this team, not just in this game, but over the course of the season for the past couple of years.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt with him missing that, whether they put another player into defense or if they play without less defensive players and try to be more offensive minded, but they're going to give up space somewhere on the field.
Just provided Luke with a yellow card. That yellow card sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. on that note with Lewin, he was exceptional in the first half.
Yeah, and sometimes the reaction you see when a team goes down to 10 men, sometimes they can start to perform better and actually possess the ball a little more. The team that has the man advantage sometimes get a little bit lackluster because they're not under as much pressure as they can, and they don't move the ball as smooth or as quickly as they can early in the game. So it's going to be interesting to see if Phoenix get that same approach to the game. But defensively, I'm interested to see how they adjust around Darnell King.
We'll find out soon enough. Phoenix down a player, but yet to have conceded a goal. Enriquez. Colorado Springs moving from left to right on your street. Phoenix, the road team, in their black tops, black shorts, moving from right to left. Lambert with the intercept. See Joey Calistri there.
There you go.
So it seems like Calistri came in for Rodriguez, and Calistri is actually going to fill in at that right back position.
Attempt here, Amo, right foot broken up at the last second. That's fantastic closing speed. Amo could only do so much in that attempt. At least he got the shot off.
Yeah, that's great defending there from Lambert to get back and time his tackle to perfection to stop that strike. I think that was probably the opportunity that would have put Colorado in the lead. Lambert does ever so well here to close the space and time his interception to perfection to stop Coldwell Owen to make a save there. But again, Colorado starting the second half, creating opportunities to score goals.
Corner brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Lindley will take it. Service. Too high. Foster. Has to pull the trigger. Enriquez. Survey. As they continue to be patient. They can. Lindley trying to go long. That header. A bit off the mark. Contact inside the 18 against. Why we have a quick moment too. That substitution with Calistri coming in. Brought to you by William J. Hibble Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Learn more at hibblecenter.org today.
Yeah, it looks like the adjustment they've made is to play a 4-4-1 with Calistri coming into that right back position for Darnell King, and Williams just remaining as the sole target player ahead.
Plenty of time to go in this half. Springs looking to get the first marker of this one. Crush the spell of Phoenix Rising FC. 6-0-1 is Phoenix in the last 7 against Colorado Springs.
I think if Colorado Springs are patient here, the chances will come. You know, they're going to be patient, move the ball from side to side, frustrate Phoenix Rising, and as they get tired from chasing the ball, there's going to be pockets where players are going to be able to pick up the ball in the final third and make them pay. So I think over the long haul of the second half, Colorado continue to possess the ball like this, despite Phoenix doing a decent job right now of putting 2 backs and 4 behind the ball and keeping their shape. Over time, that's really going to wear them down, and then the opportunities will open up for Colorado Springs to create more goal scoring chances.
Got another corner coming up. This corner brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. Set pieces so far for Colorado Springs. Have you been pleased with how they've delivered?
They've consistently delivered these into the near post area and have the players making runs across and trying to glance the ball towards goal.
Only working short. Galena has some space, pulls the trigger. That thing was elevated and sailed well over the net and wide.
Looks like he injured himself when he took that strike. It looked like it was always going over the crossbar once it left his foot. But with the extra man on the pitch, that's where you can see now they're able to take these set pieces because they have the numerical advantage. They don't necessarily have somebody coming down and putting them under pressure as much as you would have had if it was still 11v11.
Injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. Go back to it again. Looked like me on the links golf course. My shots are just slicing wide right by a mile. It's between you and I, Chris. Lindley trying to settle it down. Sayas has been relatively quiet on the evening.
Yeah, but that players like Sayas, that's when they can be most dangerous. He only needs one opportunity to get the ball in a dangerous area to make it count. And when he's quiet, that's when he can catch you most unexpected.
Enriquez, Lindley. Tell you what, that looked like it went off of Musa, and they're going to say it did. So another corner coming up right now. It's a corner kick brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Best with confidence. Again, working deliberately, quickly. Foster with the left foot. That's going to be a souvenir. I mean, just go back to the last couple of chances for Colorado Springs. They really haven't. It feels like the first half where they haven't put anything on net. Luke hasn't been under duress.
Yeah, they haven't been clinical in the final third tonight. We've spoken about that. Do they rely on Barry a little bit too much? And when Barry doesn't hit the back of the net, who else steps up to provide that offensive threat that he's able to provide? Barry's been very sharp making runs in behind, but he hasn't necessarily been the one taking the majority of shots so far in this game. And maybe that's why they still find themselves 0-0 and not a couple goals in the lead. So it's a key of how they can get Barry in positions where he's going to score goals. We spoke about him finding himself in wide areas in this game on both flanks, dropping off deeper, making it difficult for defenders to know whether to mark him tight or to leave him in space. But evidently it's down to his teammates to find him and give him good service in areas where he's going to score goals.
Well, something that they'll have to work on, especially late in the season before the playoffs come, because game tape is real. The scouting departments will make their adjustments, so once you get into the postseason, there'll be plenty of spotlight and attention on number 10.
Yeah, and some of the players in the team also need to take up and take some of that offensive load also, right? It's fantastic that he gets a lot of goals in his top goal scorer, but if they really want to go on into the postseason, teams are going to target him of how to take him out of the game. And when they target him to take him out of the game, somebody else needs to find themselves in space who's able to take on that responsibility.
Soft pass definitely goes into the 18. I'll tell you what, Barry, he puts a little bit of finesse on that. It's 1-0, but that's not the case.
It's a great little pass there in the center of the park. A bit of deception, broke the line there to find his teammate in space.
So the natural lanes have been created playing a player down is Phoenix Rising FC. Darnell King. 2 yellow cards in the first half. The second one coming in stoppage time. Was it warranted? Possibly. Depends on which team you root for. But the physicality is the name of his game, and you can't take the dog out of him. So in that instance, I mean, you're left in no man's land because it's just his nature and how he plays tactically.
Yeah, and I think the thing that his coach might be disappointed is it was the 47th minute, so it was literally half time. The ball that was played wasn't necessarily dangerous. It looked like it was going to run out of play anyway. Could he have dealt with it a little bit differently in hindsight? Yes, but in the moment.
A run. This is a great look from close proximity. Enriquez short side, and he scores! Enriquez rips some twine in the 55th minute. It's exactly what Colorado Springs needs. The advantage here in the second half is 1-0.
We can't say the goal is undeserved or against the run of play. It's completely what should have happened earlier in the game. We spoke about other players stepping up and taking the load off of Haji Barry, and Enriquez has done that at the right moment, in the right time. When he needed the pressure taken off his team a little bit, the opponents are down to 10 men. Can you get yourselves in the lead? Yes, they can. Enriquez, great strike. Great goal. Colorado Springs find themselves 1-0 up against Phoenix Rising.
The passing in that sequence was picture perfect.
And it's almost every time the ball goes in the back of the net against Phoenix Rising, they find themselves one step further away from the playoffs. I think that's a huge dent to their confidence, huge dent to their playoff chances. It's going to be interesting to see the reaction now. If they're going to lose 1-0, they may as well lose 4-0. They may as well throw bodies forward, try and be as offensive as they can, see if they can tie this game up or go on to potentially turn it around. But there's no use defending a 1-0 lead when they need 3 points to keep their playoff hopes alive.
For Enriquez, it's his 3rd goal of the season in 7+ games. So credit for him to finish. And unfortunate for Ben Loot.
But you saw Enriquez, he found himself all alone at that back stick. If he would have missed that chance, we would, you know, it would really have been drastic. It would have been harder to miss than to score. But I think it's deserved for Colorado Springs in the way they've played so far in this game.
We create your luck in this contest. It is a maddening game because Phoenix, for all intents and purposes, was completely outmatched in the first 45, but it was scoreless.
Yeah, and this will be, if they're able to keep this score 1-0, be great for Caldwell. That will be the third clean sheet that he would have kept in consecutive matches. And this is the kind of confidence and statistics that you want going towards the postseason. That's the momentum that you want to be taking, shutting teams out and converting your chances in the final third. Can they be more clinical in the final third? 100%. For the chances that they created, this should be 2 or 3-0 right now, not just one.
Break up, Amo trying to force it. Farrell fighting him off.
But that's what we talk about Haji Barry. That's what he brings, is that the attention is all on him, that there's opportunity for players like Enriquez to find themselves into the final third unmarked, because all the focus is on trying to keep Barry quiet. On that occasion, the focus is on Barry, and Enriquez is in the back post completely open for the final finish, for the final touches.
You know, one thing, if anything, for Colorado Springs, not only when you're looking at Caldwell having his third consecutive clean sheet, if it does happen, but the defense would love to get that registered mark too.
And even if you watch how Phoenix are approaching this game now, JJ Williams is doing a lot of running up there, chasing players down, chasing midfielders, chasing forwards. There's only so long he can sustain outputting that type of energy before he completely loses any energy that he has for the remainder of the game. They have to be a little bit more disciplined in their approach to defending as a team, rather than individuals just doing their own thing and running out of gas.
Enriquez, Edwards. You know, it's one thing to do this when you're playing down a player in Phoenix, maybe in Los Angeles or San Diego, but if you're doing this in Colorado Springs, you're going to be winning a lot faster.
Yeah, we spoke about the altitude effect that Colorado has compared to teams that maybe come from levels where they're not so high above ground level. Down to 10 men, and facing that also is a super hard task. But you know, the best results come from the most challenging situations. And it's only 1-0. There's still 30 minutes to play in this game. If Phoenix are able to get a goal in a set piece or from a counter attack, who knows what could happen. But now it's really about the players being able to dig deep and find something in themselves that maybe they haven't displayed so in the opening 60 minutes of this game so far.
Well, natural passing lanes have been created with Darnell King being evicted from this game. So now it's on the players to do something with it. If you're Phoenix Rising FC, you have to make an adjustment. You have to force the attack somehow, some way.
Yeah, and it's been pretty clear how Colorado have been able to build their attack or use their offensive players. As we spoke, there's times when Barry plays very high on the defensive line of Phoenix and exploits the space behind, but there's also times when he comes very short and brings the midfielders closer to the midfield, so then he can create the space behind. We haven't really been able to see how Phoenix build their attack or what they're trying to get out of their offensive players. We've not really seen the ball get fed to JJ Williams enough to understand what they're trying to get out of him. So from an offensive standpoint, we haven't really been able to see the ideas or what the plan has been in terms of how they attack him for Phoenix Rising.
Which has to be a nauseating thing if you're a fan, because you frankly, you have the weapons to compete, but you're getting, for all that's going on right now, you're getting bled out. You're down a player, and obviously Colorado Springs can just play keep away the entire match.
Yeah, and it's super frustrating as a fan, but especially with the expectancies that this organization has and what they've been used to over the years, right? This is a shadow of what the experience or the fan season has normally been for this team. So there's a lot that nobody's been able to figure out why they've underperformed so badly this season and why so many players are not maximizing their potential. But they have a new coach now, and that's his job to try and get it working and to figure it out and make improvements going forward.
Quinn nearly got to it, but that's about as close as they've come for quite a while.
And I have no doubt that Juan Guerra will get this organization back to the giants that they've been previously.
Bustry gets taken down. No whistle, no foul, retribution, perhaps. Pastry voicing his frustration there as Amo is mixing it up with him. I just wonder if this match started a different way for Phoenix, that the results would be the same. But they were outshot at one point in the first half, 12-1. And then the second yellow card came to Darnell King. And then here in the second half, Enriquez is trying to turn out the lights for the road team. His goal is third in 7+ affairs. He's got 3 assists. Take a peek again at that strike from Enriquez.
Barry with the layoff finds Enriquez in tons of space on the right-hand side, all alone, and he makes no mistake putting that one into the back of the net and giving Colorado the springs that they pretty much deserve for how they've gone about the game tonight. Despite wasting a lot of opportunities, they find themselves in the lead.
Well, everyone up front for Colorado Springs has played strong. Foster into the net. To Barry. Barry takes a shot. This thing never had a chance.
And you see that danger that he has. He just creates a shot on goal out of nothing. It doesn't look like a dangerous situation, but controls it, swivels his body around it, and ends up getting a strike off far away from the keeper, but you can see the intent that he has in his mind. Every time he gets the ball in and around that 18-yard box, he's thinking about goals.
If you're Brendan Burke, anytime now in this match, you're going to make a substitution or two?
I think he'd be happy with the way his team's performed. At the end of the day, it's a very talented Phoenix Rising team that they're playing against. They're getting the job done so far.
64th minute.
And they're getting it done by dominating possession, creating chances. For sure, you'd like them to be more clinical in the final third. But the intention is there. They're creating the chances. That's the most important thing. If they weren't creating chances, then I think you'd be a lot more worried. But the fact that they're actually creating chances, and now it's about
Edwards, he blew a tire just before he got inside the box. And more to your point, too, Chris, Cam Wimley, he's created 7 chances so far in this contest. It's more than anybody on both sides.
Yeah, he's also been responsible for taking the set pieces, right? And when you're a set piece, it gives you the opportunity to create a little bit more opportunities than maybe the players who don't take. But as you mentioned, now's the time we're starting to see some fresh leg come into the game for Phoenix Rising.
You have to do that. Greg Hurst comes in. Substitutions brought to you by the William J. Hibble Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Learn more at hibblecenter.org today.
Moore was another play, we didn't speak about too much in this game. We really didn't see him too much in this game so far tonight.
It just, in a sense, it's been suffocating. It's exactly what it's been. Doniciano coming into the contest now. Juan Guerra's troops, they have time, but not a lot of it. Less than 25 minutes to go in regulation for them. First, trying to walk that goal line, can't. Nearly got away with it there.
Yeah, what can you ask for your team in this situation? You've got to ask the players that are out there to give me everything you got. I think that's what Juan Guerra will be saying. Look, we know we're against the odds. Just give me everything you got. If you can come off the pitch at the end of the game and look me honestly in the eye, look yourself in the mirror and say you gave it everything that you had tonight. At the end of the day, the rest is going to take care of itself. They're talented players. If they give it everything they got, they have the best chance of success. It's a problem when you have players who come off the pitch and you genuinely know that they didn't give it everything that they had. In situations like this, there's no reason for that because it's all or nothing every game right now.
Speaking of giving it all, I'm going to say a big thanks to our entire crew: Miguel Machado, Alejandra Hassan, Jake McCloskey, and Yvonne Velasquez. Big thanks to our entire ESPN crew with you in Colorado Springs tonight. Can't do this without our team.
Can we get a picture?
Jai got away with one there. And then he gets taken down.
I don't mind that response from Henriquez. He gets fouled. He doesn't feel like he gets the call. Instead of staying there waving, he gets up and he goes and chases hard. Yes, he does give away a frivolent free kick at the end of it, but I like the reaction that, okay, I didn't get the call, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go chase back and work hard and try and win the ball back. That's the kind of tenacity that you like to see from players, and sometimes we don't applaud that response often enough to kind of make it a continuous habit.
You can afford to do that too when you're 70 yards away from your own goal. Time and place for everything, and that was a perfect spot for Enriquez. Williams, this might earn a booking, and it is. That's blatant as they'd come in the 68th minute. Chavarria getting up, and he was doing a little chirping.
Williams was trying to use his frame here to gain the advantage on the defenders, but he does kind of ease his shoulder into Echeverria's back, and I think rightfully referee does call a free kick.
Yellow card issued to J.J. Williams, sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. J.J. Williams towering over Echeverria, who's only 5'8", 155 pounds, maybe. I say that very loosely because usually the height and weight are given at the beginning of the season, and these players are running for miles.
Yeah, and in the peak of the summer, what you might weigh before kickoff can be completely different at the end of kickoff.
Right. It's almost comparable to a UFC fighter trying to cut weight before a fight.
The good part is that the sports science and the medicine teams are so good now that they'll weigh you before you play the game, and if you get dehydrated and your weight goes down at the end of the game, they ensure that you're drinking the right fluids and drinking enough water that your weight is able to go back, because the drop in weight throughout the course of the game is normally, you know, fluids that you've lost through sweat,
yeah,
or the humidity. So it's important that you replenish those straight after the game, and the sports scientists seem so good at measuring and doing everything with accuracy that they try to take the best care of these players. So.
And the workload throughout the year, I mean, you're not always practicing it at full tilt like you would during the off season, so those legs stay somewhat fresh.
Yeah, the key is this: in the summer it's so hot that you have to make sure the fluids that you're losing, you're replacing. And of course, as you would know, it's not just water, it's electrolytes and the other good stuff that you lose when you're out there working hard in the sun and in the heat. And being able to perform well over the course of a season is obviously a lot about keeping yourself healthy and in good condition.
Barry. The knee back to Barry. Barry gets it back. He does. Nice move, Barry. Trying to create. Fans get on their feet, expecting something special. Lambert's there.
So crafty. For a big guy, his feet are awesome for such a big guy. Crafty, able to beat players. Clean first touch.
Just joining us, Darnell King, 2 yellow cards in the first half. Second one occurring during stoppage time. He got the game. And after that, Phoenix had to play the rest of this match. Just one player down. Assuming nothing was committed on the rest of Colorado Springs. Enriquez. The first goal of this affair in the 55th minute. Barry at the assist. Enriquez, excuse me. Third goal of the season. Barry, it's his 9th assist.
You can start to see some patterns starting to occur in Colorado Springs right now. You can see they're passing possession with no purpose anymore. So instead of using the man advantage that they have to move the ball quicker and create things, they're just moving the ball slowly without purpose because they have a numerical advantage. And sometimes that can be the biggest detrimental factor, because now you end up making bad decisions in possession of the ball, turning it over in areas and putting yourself under pressure. So I think Colorado Springs, they need to ensure that they're using their numerical advantage to move the ball quicker, create overloads in wide areas, and continue to create goal scoring chances, rather than just having aimless possession and moving the ball around without any type of purpose.
Barry certainly does have intent every time he has it. Enriquez. Nice little chip to Edwards, but he can't get to it.
And that's what we're talking about, right? You have the man advantage, and now you're turning over the ball more frequently than you did when you didn't have a man advantage, with getting a little bit lackadaisical and lackluster in passes and how they're moving the ball. You're seeing players taking the extra touch that they don't need, dwelling on the ball a little more than they did. As you can see, like, the giveaways now are becoming more frequent for Colorado Springs than they were in the first half.
Beautiful move and a great right leg save by Lute to keep this game at 1-0. Galena had it, and Lute said no.
And Galena does ever so well here to use his body to turn the defender to create this opportunity. Drives into the final third, past Musa, but again, that composure lacking with the finish, and Lund comes up with a tremendous save there just to keep the margin at 1-0. That should really be 2-0 Colorado Springs.
This corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. He's right, Pepsi, that's what I like. Wheel me again. Line drive. That header close to being on net. And, you know, if that is the situation with Colorado Springs, where they're not moving with purpose anymore, why not make some changes and bring in some fresh faces?
And I think, you know, we spoke about the difficulties that Phoenix are having right now. They played midweek, obviously, so they played midweek. Players are recovering. They played today in Colorado at altitude. They're now down to 10 men. So all of that obviously has a tremendous physical impact on these players. Obviously, the staff have the access to GPS data, so they're able to manage the load of these players very well, whether it might be Capital or StatSports or whatever GPS technology they're using. They're able to have physical data to measure the load to the most accuracy for these players to be able to perform to their best. But the challenges that they're facing are really mounting. The situation that they find themselves outside the playoffs is getting closer and closer as the weeks tick on, and the character of the players are really being tested now. They have to dig deep and try to get something out of this game.
Foster. Here's Barry. So they'll be extremely patient now. With his head up. Going out wide. Galena. With a nice move. But again, get the fans on their feet, and then they're disappointed on that.
Yeah, it's just the final decision, or the quality on the final decision. Does ever so well to beat the defender here. Good feet, good agility, good movement. But then when it comes to the final strike, it doesn't quite have the accuracy or the quality that's required to convert the chance.
You brought it up just seconds ago. Did you ever have GPS?
I was never a fan of it because I enjoyed training, every training session. Like it was my last. Like, I enjoyed intense training sessions. I really was not a fan of light training sessions unless it was a day before a game. And as the GPS technology became more prevalent, we started to do less training, which to science it was the right decision. But to players I like to come off the training field feeling like I've trained. If I came off the training field feeling fresh, like I didn't feel like I did enough. So for me, it was good, but just the way it was being used at the time was it was frustrating for me. Maybe I didn't understand it as well as that period of time, the knowledge that I have now. But I think it's definitely become a huge advantage to the game. With players playing so many games, so much period of time, it's a huge advantage to keeping players healthy over the long term and not just focusing on the short term.
Jai here trying to make something happen. That rebound came carrying it out to Quinn.
Donaciano could have had a claim there for a PK, and that could have seen us on level pegging despite how dominant Colorado Springs have been in this game. Farrell made a good tackle just moments earlier, but again, we're seeing this only 1-0. This game isn't over yet.
For Caldwell, he just makes one save. And out long, and this shot well wide of the net from Hurst.
Yeah, not the best decision making there in the final third. Hurst does ever so well to get on that ball and make the run in behind, but probably just need to hold up, be a little bit more patient and see if he was able to get support from one of his teammates and actually get a good strike off on the goal. I think from that angle on his weaker left foot, trying to beat the keeper from that distance was never going to be overly successful. Looked like the referee went to his back pocket there.
He did. It'll be a booking against Phoenix on the bench. So yellow card being delivered again here in the 77th minute. Sponsored by Diversus Health, Mental Health, and Wellbeing for All. Remember to take a moment to breathe. We wouldn't have the luxury with where we're at right now to hear the guys down the pitch, but got to imagine if a second yellow card's been given to the bench of Phoenix here tonight. Brad Jensen might bring some earplugs next time he's matched up against one Garrett's crew.
And when a red card gets given to one team, you always tell the team that doesn't have one yet to be careful, because the referees, not that they're being biased to either team, but sometimes they look for the opportunity to even things up and make a decision for both teams. So you always tell your players, like, be a little bit more careful, make sure you're timing your tackle perfection, don't make any needless fouls that you don't need to, close your mouth and don't backtrack to the referee, because if you give him the opportunity to level things up, more often than not they will do that.
Shots right now are 21-2 in favor of Colorado Springs. 5 on target for the home team and 1 for Phoenix Rising FC. Going 4 on 3. Tell you what, if you would have played that thing out to the left wing, man open.
Even the pass from Galena there isn't great, because Barry doesn't make that run, but the defender intercepts the pass. If he has awareness around him, he realized that he's not under pressure because the attacker didn't make the run, and he could have kept the ball and built the attack for his own team. Instead, he's not aware of what's around him. He ends up just kicking out of play and giving Colorado Springs the ball again in the final third.
Colorado Springs possession time tonight, 67%. Loud figure. Now, of course, you might say they're playing 11 on 10, but it was like that for a good chunk of the first half. So anything delivered to Colorado Springs tonight has been earned.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix Rising we've seen tonight, irrespective of the talent they have, we won't be seeing them in the playoffs if they keep performing like this.
Barry using his strength. Barry, left foot, that header, and they score. It looked like Galena got a piece of it. The question is, will Brad Jensen go to his...
The question is, if Galena leaves this ball alone, does it go into the back of the net from Barry?
The look on Galena's face.
Great pass there from Henriquez with the outside of the boot here. Calistri up against Barry. Barry does ever so well, settles himself, fakes the defender to get the shot off on his weaker foot. I don't think it was going in, but Galena there uses his hand to put the one in the back of the net. From this angle, it'll tell us where it was going. Yeah, it definitely wasn't going in.
So obviously that will not count. Yellow card being delivered. Brought to you by Diversus Health, Mental Health, and Wellbeing for All. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Can't help but you smile and you nod. You're not cheating, you're not trying.
Hey, Galena needs to put the Goldie gloves on if he wants to use his hands like that.
Right.
He needs to go and switch with Caldwell.
That's right. So Galena with the booking. Also gave one to Joe Farrell. 82nd minute. And time ticking away on the season for Phoenix. More physicality. Galena wide open. Galena pulls the trigger. And again, you see him down on his knees, pleading with the Almighty.
So frustrating, the amount of chances that Colorado Springs have created tonight. This is great work here from Amor to keep this chance alive. Barry again with the layoff to the same position that he set up Henriquez earlier for the goal to take the lead. But Galena here again, a lot of power, a lot of aggression, not much accuracy and finesse in the finish.
Well, Galena comes into this game with 9 goals this season. With the way that he has played and the chances he's had, he could have taken over the team lead against Barry.
Yeah, and the good thing is, it's the good and the bad, right? Colorado Springs have created so many chances. That's a positive, because creating chances in itself is a huge task. But they've not been able to be clinical with these chances. So, of course, this week, finishing practice for sure is going to be somewhere in the cards for this team, because they need to get more clinical. Because as you get to the playoffs, you come up against defenses that are far more stingy. They're not going to give you 10, 20 chances to score 1 goal. You've got to be clinical, where you might get 1 or 2 chances and your strikers need to put that into the back of the net. And that's going to be the difference maker of the teams that are really able to go on and have a deep, deep run in the postseason. So for sure, the positives there, they're getting into the final third, creating the chances, opening teams up. Now they need to get more clinical, a little bit more composed, a little bit more precise in what they do in those final moments.
Wheeler comes in for Enriquez. Substitution brought to you by William J. Hibble Sports Medicine Performance Center. Learn more at hibblecenter.org today. Enriquez is the only player that has scored tonight. Has scored in the 55th minute and has been the difference maker. Well, one of the things that's been a difference. Darnell King removed, 2 yellow cards in the night. This will get a legal touch. Street puzzled. 2 players that are down. One getting up is Foster. Injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. Shots right now 22-2 in favor of Colorado Springs. Possession arrow towards them, 67%.
And you see the Colorado Springs players telling each other, like, hey, they switched on. The game isn't over yet. There's still 10 minutes to play. They're only up by 1 goal. All it takes is 1 chance for Phoenix to get themselves back in this game. And a tie would feel like a loss for Colorado Springs in terms of possession and the chances they created. It would actually feel like a win for Phoenix, given they're down to 10 men. And as we spoke about the travel and altitude they're playing, some of the difficulties that they face this season. If they're able to get a point out of this game, that is a great result for Phoenix. So it's going to be interesting to see if Colorado Springs are able to have the mentality and focus to see this game out. Because I'm starting to see some cracks in team shape and organization. And it seems like Phoenix is starting to get 1 or 2 more opportunities as the game's starting to come towards a close.
Claudio Repetto coming into the contest for J.J. Williams. That substitution brought to you by William J. Hibble Sports Medicine Performance Center. And more at hibblecenter.org. Again, Police Street, 28 North from Deerfield, Illinois. Time Chicago Fire in 2016-2017. Joined the Tulsa Roughnecks on loan in 2017. Played his college ball at Northwestern. Wildcats. Northwestern's football team actually went overseas. They went over the pond to Dublin, and they took on Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. They beat them coming from behind.
And this is where Phoenix can be dangerous. These set-piece deliveries into the box. You have Musa in the final third. You have Lambert in the final third. Just unable to get the ball into the box. That's a wasted chance there. You sent your centre-backs all the way up. You can't afford to give it away now because everybody's out of position. Just getting caught there with the leg tackle. Now you're starting to see a little bit of urgency from Phoenix Rising, getting up, getting higher, trying to get the team higher up the field so he can get this ball back into play quickly.
deliver that close. Could not. This will have to come back to him. Down a player. Now running at a time. Jai couldn't get to it. Whistle before that, but there was a foul that occurred near midfield. That was the case.
And with just less than 10 minutes remaining in the game, at this phase, you've got to try and get the ball forward as often as possible. You're down numerically, so it's going to be very difficult for you to make penetrating passes and build up play.
Trying to enter.
It's going to be difficult to get into the final third for build-up play when you're down a man, and Colorado Springs are not necessarily opening themselves up and chasing the game because they're winning. So you have to try and be as direct as you can, get the ball into the final third, see if you get a knockdown, see if you can get second balls, and try to get as many goal-scoring opportunities as you can. The more you possess, and you're down a man, and you're possessing in your own defensive third or in the middle third, the clock's just ticking away, and it's eating up your chance to create goal-scoring opportunities. So for me, Phoenix Rising have to opt that a little bit more direct tactics in the closing phases of this game.
Enriquez, that goal error, delivering the man of the match. As the votes are in, the Better Business Bureau man of the match is Enriquez. His third goal of the season. Verified customer reviews. Check business ratings at bbb.org today.
Yeah, there's been some good performances from Colorado Springs throughout the course of this game, but Enriquez has been the player who's come up with the pivotal moment right now that is giving Colorado Springs the 1-0 lead, and which will be 3 points at the end of this game.
That man right there, Cam Limley, has been all over the pitch. He's played a spirited contest.
Yeah, he's been in the center of the park doing a lot of the dirty work, as well as taking the set pieces and creating opportunities for the teammates. He's done a very industrious shift in the center of the park, covering distance, breaking up plays, intercepting passes. He's had a good performance tonight.
Injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health.
Can you play the ball forward? You're down a goal with less than 2 minutes to go. You don't need to be passing it around your back line. Like, get the ball forward.
They're taking this sweet time and earn himself a booking. Yellow card, issue to Aaron Wheeler. Sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Well, things are getting their money's worth tonight. Trying to play this in. Caldwell coming out to sit up for a bit.
You can see Wheeler is coming there purposefully to win the aerial battle. You can see when the ball's coming deep from those longer passes, he's almost playing in the back line as a defender to win those headers. His natural position is almost actually as a number 9 central striker.
There he is. Come on, stay up. Oh, there you go.
On this night. Stop and go action for him.
Yeah, you can see he sizes up the defender. He knows that Barry knows he has very good acceleration off the mark. So he brings the defender to a stop because he knows when he knocks that full 5 yards, he's going to be the quickest to get there.
Will come out for it. Stoppage time, he gets 6 of them. Stoppage time brought to you by TikTok Shop. 6 minutes added to this affair.
Still enough time for Phoenix Rising to create some goal-scoring opportunities in these closing minutes.
Just off the foot, Hurst. Hurst gets it back.
You just don't understand his mentality there. You play backwards, you give it away. You play a cross into the box, the defenders have to defend.
Yeah.
They're not having to defend right now because your decision-making is actually sending them on a counter-attack.
Here's Barry trying to end this thing. Najee setting up the defense. Says it was deflected out. We're inclined to agree with him.
Yeah, the ball was just a bit sticky under his foot in that situation. Just struggled to get it out so he could get that strike on goal and pick his corner.
Corner kick brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Colorado Springs in no mood to hurry up.
Yeah, and Colorado Springs, despite some lackluster finishing tonight, clean sheet, and 3 points. I think, you know, the coach will be very, very happy with the return from the players tonight. But again, the objective is to go all the way in the postseason. And in order to do that, they need to get a little bit more tight in and try and converting their chances.
Time standing, San Antonio has a 7-point advantage over San Diego. Quickly back the other way. Repetto tried to push, but could not. But again, Amo. Lambert closed quickly.
Done so many things right. Puts the defender to the ground. Just that final touch again. Great run. Does the right thing here. You think he's going to open his hips and bends it in the corner. Fakes the defender, cuts inside, but just takes the extra touch. And Lambert's able to get back there and make the tackle. Here, just takes the extra touch. An extra half second too long. After he cuts the defender, if he releases that shot quickly, I think he gets himself on the score sheet, but just takes half a second too long. And Lambert does ever so well to get back there and make the interception.
Corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that is what I like. It's a heroic play by Lambert. This match will float from Phoenix.
Come on, Walter!
Barry. Galena, who's had more than a handful of quality scoring opportunities tonight.
Again, that's not a bad delivery into the box. It's just nobody making the run. Again, frustrating Phoenix.
Substitution, this one for Colorado Springs. Galena will come off the pitch. He has played well. Belmar comes in for him. Belmar, a little bit of time.
You can see if this Colorado Springs squad is able to stick together, I think I can only see them getting better. Galena had a strong game today, but he has to have more. But he has to have a final output. The assist, the goal, something has to come from his good play, from his good dribbling, from the good energy that he brings to the game. Now the final part is, can he become more influential, more clinical in chances that he creates in the final third.
That substitution is brought to you by the William J. Hibble Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Learn more at hibblecenter.org. Belmar in for Galena. One of a couple substitutions made tonight for Colorado Springs.
And I think Edwards has been decent for Colorado Springs tonight. Of course, he's on loan from the Colorado Rapids. I think he's actually added a little more stability to this back line and is a good addition for them going into the final stretch of the season. I've been impressed with how he's performed tonight on that right-hand side of defense.
It's always best when you don't have to call anyone in the defense, call their number 2 out. Things when you're not making mistakes, and 2, your offense is doing its job in the attack.
Smart play here from Belmar. 90 seconds left to go in the game and just trying to kill the clock.
Looks to be about 60 seconds left in this thing. So the faithful here at Widener's Field.
Maybe I'm wrong. I just said there's 60 seconds to go and Phoenix are still playing it short from the back, despite being down a man. Pump a long diagonal ball, turn possession over. It's frustrating to say the least.
There we go. Come on,
Real sense of courage right now, trying to get back into this thing. That could be rewarded with a goal differential of -1.
Well, we spoke about Darnell King getting sent off. You know, that's their leader, their captain on the pitch, and it's showing that they're missing that on-field leadership of somebody grabbing the ball, taking the game by the scruff of the neck, and giving the team some direction and leadership from an on-field perspective. I think they've missed their captain for sure in the second half of this game. Lots of room for improvement.
Indeed, there is. And 7 games left after this one, but they'll wear it. King with 2 yellow cards in the first half. Enriquez, Lambert, and This thing is all over. Colorado Springs have recorded back-to-back clean sheets. Jeff Caldwell and company gets his 9th of the year. And for Colorado Springs, Chris, this was more clinical than anything else. 1-0 victory.
Yeah, I think when you look at Colorado Springs, I saw a good team performance. Despite we talk about Barry being the leader and the stand-up performer in this team, you just see everybody in the team working hard. Even Wheeler, when he came in, you saw him putting on the shift, the energy, the focus, the mentality he was bringing to the team. You just see a good group of players working together, giving it everything they got. Do they have the quality or the reputation of some of the players for Phoenix Rising? No. But do they perform well as a team? Yes, they did. And tonight, they got the result for a performance they deserve. In one place, they need to tidy up. In the final third, can they be more clinical with the chances that they create?
Well, that leads us to my question. What do you think is the critical moment of the match? Brought to you, of course, by Centurion.
I think the critical moment of the match has to be Henriquez taking the chance, because that's the one chance that was converted, despite probably close to 20 chances created. Didn't convert them here. Barry lays it off into the back of the net. Henriquez, man of the match. The most critical moment of the match, gives his team the 1-0 victory.
So they win it. 3 more points onto their resume for this season. Colorado Springs notching their 16th win of the campaign. 16-9-3. Phoenix Rising FC, they fall to 9-13-5 overall. So in full time here tonight, Colorado Springs takes care of business by a final score of 1-0. Up a player, they take full advantage of it. More to come on the other side.
We are Southern Colorado. Our stories represent our families, our friends.
Time for me to dig into this burger. It tastes like home.
Our stories affect change.
And the queen of the Blossom Festival is joining me now.
So we're very excited to have you here and learning about all these awesome things.
It feels like you're flying on the air.
That is awesome.
Bringing you the most local news. We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
Looking to grow your business? Fox 21 and SoCo CW are here to help. We can reach your consumers thanks to our award-winning news team, local sports coverage, and our connection and commitment to the community. Our exclusive partnership with Marshall Marketing will give you detailed demographics and buying habits in Southern Colorado, allowing us to target your advertising campaign with precision to maximize your advertising results. To learn more, email advertisewithus@kxrm.com.
Calling all Switchbacks fans. Now is your chance to be featured on Loving Living Local. All you have to do is submit your best fan photo on our website for a chance to be featured on Loving Living Local with our host, Nava. And you'll receive a fan swag goodie bag full of awesome Switchbacks gear. For your chance to be our winner, just go to fox21news.com under the Sports tab and click Switchbacks FC to enter.
David Gasca and Chris Nurse putting a bow on this thing. Colorado Springs protects home field tonight. 1-0 over Phoenix Rising FC. Logging their 16th win of the season. And Phoenix suffering their 13th defeat here in 2022. Chris, as we look at some full-time highlights in this thing, overall thoughts of this contest first off for Colorado Springs, because it looked like they had an early jump.
Yeah, I think Colorado Springs had a very positive perspective on the game. The way they approached the game, I think they were very much on the front foot, fresh, full of energy, lots of runs in behind. We just questioned some of their quality in the final third when it comes to taking those chances. Of course, here was the red card that we saw in the final seconds of the first half that put Phoenix Rising down to 10 men.
Well, Widener Field was certainly electric early on, and the chances continued throughout this affair. When you look at what was all said and done for Colorado Springs, they didn't take their foot off the gas. They created, but more importantly, they finally were able to bury a shot, given the fact they were up a play.
Yeah, and it's surprising. We spoke about Barry. He's been the one to score goals, but here we see his unselfish nature. He lays this ball off for Henriquez to finish first time and put his team in the lead. Henriquez was the only one able to convert his chance tonight, despite Colorado Springs coming close to 23 shots tonight, with just 5 of those being on target.
Here in the 80th minute, Barry trying to do more work in this contest. I mean, he was all over the place. The only thing he did not do, unfortunate for him, was finish.
Yeah, and that was Henriquez creating this opportunity with a great outside of the foot pass, something like 30 yards. But Galena here doing his best goalkeeper impression. He may be challenging for the #1 spot in between the sticks as keeper next season.
I hope Jeff Caldwell doesn't hear you on that. 3 clean sheets in a row, though, and the final full-time stats in this thing, they are brought to you by Widener.
Yeah, as we see, 23 shots on target. 23 shots, sorry, only 5 on target. Some good build-up play in the attacking for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. However, they were not so clinical. They only leave this game 1-0 despite all the shots that they created and opportunities they created. But they did dominate possession, which is always a positive, having the majority of possession of the ball and being able to impose their style and attacking flair in the game. For Phoenix Rising, there's so much room for improvement. Let's see if they're able to make those adjustments.
And for Colorado Springs, they're 44 points now in the season. Jairo Henriquez, the hero tonight. His goal in the 55th minute was the game-winning goal. Hanji Berry with the assist. And that's going to do it here from Widener Field in Colorado Springs. For Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon saying so long. Colorado Springs wins this one in full time by a final score of 1-0. Have a wonderful holiday weekend, everyone. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.